Hi guys! I am so sorry that I've been so MIA the last, couple months or so, but I'm here in my new apartment in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I have been about a month into my internship here so far, my clinical rotations for dietetics. And I wanted to share kind of my initial experiences and initial thoughts about this big move and this exciting time, since that was the whole point of starting this YouTube channel in the beginning. So I have my notes here on my phone, and I just want to make this quick to kind of give you an initial video. So I'm sitting here, like I said, in my apartment. I love it here. I really lucked out with the location. I moved here without ever seeing my apartment or the neighborhood, so I am completely lucky, like I said. So first of all, I started my internship on September 6th, so it's well over a month now that I've been in the hospital rotating through different areas, and all I can say so far is I love it. I first wanted to start out this video quickly to explain how I chose my specific internship, how I decided where to apply in general, because that's where a lot of you are at in the process of the whole DICAS application right now, is choosing where to rank your schools, where to go in general. And let me tell you, from now until, even January or so, it might even change. So the factors that I looked at when applying were pretty simple. They may seem kind of common sense, but for me they were very impactful and important deciding factors. So I'll be honest and say the first one was money. I was always one to work multiple jobs throughout undergrad. I have student loans, and so money was a big issue for me, and so I didn't want to have to pay a whole ton of money for my internship. I got matched at the VA hospital in Minneapolis, and I'm very lucky and blessed to say that they offer a stipend. So that was a deciding factor for me on what institution to apply to. So that stipend was a deciding factor. Second was location. I knew that I wanted to stay somewhere within the Midwest, since that's where I was born and raised, but I also, didn't want to move that far away from home, but yet I did want to move somewhat far away from home. I wanted to have a chance in my life to kind of explore a bigger city than what I was used to, live on my own for a while, and just experience a more independent style of life for a short period of time. And so far I've accomplished that, and I'm living that, and I'm loving life, and I'm so happy here. So Minneapolis is an awesome city. It's not huge, but it has enough stuff going on for me on any given day, so I love it here. Cost of living is more expensive than Des Moines, where I'm from, or Ames, definitely where I went to school. So that's been something that I've had to save and prepare for, but again, it's worth it to me at this stage in my life. And then last but not least, the population that I wanted to work with in the clinical setting. I knew that I wanted to work with veterans, and I wanted to serve that specific population, and it's a very unique population. So that was a driving and deciding factor for why I chose the VA. So just keep in mind those ideas when you are deciding your rank of all the different locations, and be honest with yourself in what you want. So far, I just want to debrief you guys on the rotations I've done. On any given rotation, you spend at least 1 or 2 weeks in any area. So I've already completed 2 full rotations, and I'm in my 3rd right now. I just started it yesterday. So I started with geriatrics, which I really like working with that population. You see a lot of kind of broad spectrum cases, so a lot of chronic disease, obviously, with the population I'm working with. The ages ranged anywhere from 60 to over 100 years old, so quite broad. And I spent 2 weeks there. I got to do initial assessments, follow-up assessments. I got to write my own notes and do my own charting. And I got to really dive deep into the computer system that the VA specifically uses. So great experience, really hands-on experience. The RD who was my preceptor, co-signed all of my notes. And it was honestly very rewarding because there were 2 cases where 2 notes I made or 2 recommendations I made, I actually saw with my own eyes them being put into place. So one, I suggested a patient go to a stretch and strengthen class, and then later, out of the corner of my eye, a few days later, I saw him doing it. And another one was sending Insure home with him when he went away for a weekend, and then I saw him on his little walker pushing his Insure out. So those were experiences where I felt like I really made a difference and my recommendations were really paid attention to. So that was awesome. I had a great experience so far with geriatrics. After that, I spent 1 week in food service, so woohoo, I have my food service rotation done with. I was a little nervous going into that because that was never my favorite aspect, although I've had a lot of kitchen experience in industrial kitchens and I feel really comfortable in that setting. It was a lot of fun, but I'm not gonna lie, really early hours. I had to wake up at 4 a.m. every day and be to work by either 5:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. The perk though with that is I got done at 3 o'clock sometimes, or 2:30 sometimes. So just a different kind of schedule my body had to get used to. But that involved a lot of hands-on work with nutritional supplements, cooking for hundreds of people, etc. So that was really good experience. And then there was an exam that I had to pass after. Just like every rotation, you have to pass an exam and make sure that you understand what you've learned and that you can move forward. So then that's over and done with. I will have a second admin rotation much later in the year involving food service as well. So I feel like I'm not quite done with all of that yet, but a good chunk of it is done. So now I am actually in an off-site rotation. I'm going to different long-term care facilities around Minneapolis and St. Paul. And then for the second half of the week, starting tomorrow, I go to the Veterans Home here in Minneapolis. So I'm not quite sure what that will involve, but so far I've seen different computer programs that they use to chart notes in. I see different techniques for intakes and assessments. So it's been great just to shadow bunches of people, kind of getting a sense of different styles, how people do their work on any given day. And it's very different from facility to facility. So that's been a plus. One thing that they don't really tell you in school for internship stuff is that you need a car and you need to be able to transport yourself to different locations, because no matter what, you'll have your home base facility at a hospital, but you must fulfill all the requirements such as WIC, school, food service, community. So your director will have you go to different off-site locations. So that's another thing when you're thinking about places to live and move to. Do I feel comfortable driving in this really big city? How is traffic? For example, if you're in California, Los Angeles, San Francisco, there are VAs out there. I can't imagine what it would be like trying to get to different off-site locations dealing with traffic. It's bad enough here in Minneapolis. So those are things that they don't really tell you in school that are logistical things you need to really keep in mind. So just again, it's kind of an added expense, an added thing you need to throw into the mix, but definitely important to think about. So yeah, that in a nutshell is my internship experience so far. That was done in, gosh, I think it's like almost 10 minutes because I talk so much. But I could talk on and on about all the experiences I've had. If you guys have any questions at all, please leave them below in the comments. I'm here to help you navigate this kind of treacherous and anxiety-producing time. I've been there. I feel your pain, so let me know how I can answer any questions as you're applying for the internship. And the next video I'm going to make is going to talk more in depth about tips and tricks for having a really top-notch application, and also kind of things, kind of echoing some of the things I brought up in this video, things they don't tell you in school, either related to the internship itself or tips and tricks for having a really, really great application. So please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for that next video. Bye guys.